All right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. What's up, everybody? I'm a little bit late here. Had to go get my coffee. Tenfold coffee in Houston. This has been my jam the whole time we've been here. Little walk to the coffee shop from here. A little bit of a delay this morning with my breakfast and stuff, but we're good. We're here. Is everybody shocked by last night? How are we feeling? That was crazy. Crazy. All right, what do we got here? Let's talk a little bit before we get into this game. Good morning to everybody in here. I am also worried about Kyle Teal, not only for him and for the White Sox. I don't think his whatever he's got is very severe, so he'll be fine. But also really for us, he's our major league catcher that we have. JJ's a good hitter, but he doesn't have as much experience. And then what happens after that? I think I should strap it up, to be honest. I should strap on the old tools of ignorance, go back there. Minimum, I should call pitches. But that could be a problem for us moving forward, but Teal's the man. What a swing. I thought that swing changed the game even more than the Antonacci swing. You know, it was just breaking the ice a little bit. Obviously, Teal, we kind of need him back there, on the ones and twos with the little pitch comm buttons. So that was a little bit of a disappointing thing. But anyway, all good. Quite the game last night. Good morning, Victoria. What else we got in here? Looks like this is the consensus all around. People want now Italy to win so that U.S. can advance. No muss, no fuss. Obviously, this is very interesting and nail biting for the guys over there after last night's game, which obviously meant a lot, but they didn't act like it meant a lot. Maybe they didn't know it meant a lot. There's been some scuttlebutt about this. Either way, got kind of bum rushed. All right, what else we got here? Guys, we're pumped. I mean, clearly we have to still take care of business today, so it was a little bit more subdued than you would expect, but guys, we're pumped. I mean, that's the biggest win in Italian baseball history for sure. Vinny was fired up, giving speeches, manager, everybody. So, I don't know. The boys are gelling. Got a big one versus Mexico today. Javier Assad on the mound for them. We'll have Nola. It will be interesting. Cervelli, he's right. He's driving the ship very well right now. He said last night in the group text. This is good. Real quick, I don't want to overshare here, but I'll give you the gist of what he said, and I thought it was pretty solid. Let me grab that WhatsApp real quick. He said, "Hey guys, I'm very proud. You guys made history, but it doesn't finish here. We need to win tomorrow. Don't do math. Don't think about numbers. Just win the game." That was that's the message, and I think that's the right message for us. You don't need to get too complicated. Just go out there and play. So we'll see what happens. As an Italian who sports the Royals, it was a 10 of 10 game. Man, how about that Jack Caglione? What a stud. Okay, my wife's calling me, so I got to take a quick break, and then I'll come right back, and we'll do this for real. All right, so give me a moment here. All right, sorry for the confusion there. That took a second, but we're good. All right. Let's not bury it too far. Let's not talk too much. My opinions don't matter. We got another baseball game to play today. I'll tell you what, though, one of the things that's the difference between us and the American team is I don't think that outside of a few things like Lorenzen getting moved up to yesterday, I don't think we care too much about the restrictions. I think tonight you're going to see a lot of guys throw back to back if we have a shot to win this game tonight. And obviously USA is passing around, like they're kind of, it seems like they're a little held down by, what all the teams want. For my money, I probably wouldn't have put Yarborough in that game when they were chasing, but that's what makes me think that maybe they didn't know. Maybe they didn't know what happened in that game. All right. Why? I think the first place to start in this game is with Michael Lorenzen. He was awesome. 4 2/3, 2 hits, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. This is what he does. He stays off the barrel. And I think it's a good point to drive home. If you're gonna face a juggernaut team like a DR or a US in particular, those teams who are just loaded, I don't think you can try to outstuff them necessarily for 9 innings. I think you really have to pitch, and Lorenzen set the tone. Now you can see our bullpen kind of took on water the whole game, and we were able to kind of get down, and Weissert made some huge pitches at the end and saved our bacon there. And I do think Teal coming out had a big, there was a big to-do with the runs scored without Teal back there behind the plate, calling the pitches and making the right decisions. We'll have to deal with that going forward. But anyway, Lorenzen was awesome. So let's just go ahead and let's watch Mike. Because, one thing about Lorenzen that you got to respect is this guy's not afraid of anything. He signed with the Rockies on purpose to start baseball games. He said, move me up to Team USA. I got this on purpose. And that's a good place to be. Well, of course, we start off right away, and we know Bobby gets out. These clips have been really dog shit to start off some of these games. All right, here's a dirty changeup. Of course, the clips are all out of whack. What is going on? I'm pissed. Walks Judge and then Schwarber fly out. Please tell me we're going to start getting the clips right. No, we're still off. I'm going to have to go watch the actual. I'm actually going to have to go watch the highlight. This is garbage. All right, let's just go back. What a bunch of nonsense. All right, let's watch Lorenzen's scoreless outing. This should kick in here in a minute. I love that Lorenzen wears Vans. He's who he is. Biggest arms you'll ever see on a pitcher. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Really hardworking guy. Really good pitcher, man. He's done it all. Come on. What is going on today? Guess we'll wait for this to load. This should load up in a minute because we got to watch what he does. He stays off the barrel, does a good job. Here we go. All right, here's Gunner. Gets him with the changeup. His changeup's very, very good. He sells it really good. Kind of the way he unwinds, I feel like, is key. And look, at the end of the day, you're going to pitch a contact against Team USA. You're going to need some balls to go at people, and a lot of them did. But at the same time, I mean, talk about keeping a team off balance. And, this team is built to slug and to hit for power. And he muted that a lot. A lot of balls on the ground here, beating the ground. There's Roman. There was a lot of fly balls that just kind of died at the warning track. And I thought he was kind of the perfect antidote to what they can do, Nice little slider there to Goldie. Tell you, though, it does feel an awful lot like they didn't know that this game mattered based on how they played it. The Yarborough thing, Goldie getting the start over Harper with a righty on the mound, Clement getting the start. I just thought it was a little curious, honestly. All right, let me go back to the play-by-play. Pretty soon, this has to be a little better. So let's try starting in the second inning. Will Smith. See if we can get these clips to work. No, this is fucking dog shit. This is pissing me off so much. So if I go to the first pitch, is everything a pitch back? Yeah, I guess so. See, this is what I was talking about. A lot of weak fly balls. A lot of just a lot of easy outs. Just did a nice job. Didn't let them get into any balls. Obviously, they got into some balls later, but I thought this is just insane. It's just I can't even watch the clips. This is just so stupid. They really ruined my night. What the hell? Lorenzen does have a no-hitter on his resume. The guy can pitch. The guy can really pitch. You know? I mean, just what a difference it makes to have a couple of real veteran pitchability guys in a tournament like this when you have to face the big boys. You know? Let's see if we can get this clip. I mean, at some point, these clips will actually line up, right? No, we're just going to watch Bobby. What the fuck? All right, well, whatever. He did great. I don't know what to say. This is friggin' nonsense. Well, maybe I'm just going to keep trying for a minute because at some point we need to get a look at how he actually did it, not just what the numbers say. Yeah, it's ridiculous. We're like a pitch behind. This is going to be the ground out here. Little sinker in. You get Judgy to swing off the plate. You don't get to do that very often. So they did a really good job neutralizing him in some big spots. Let's just let's go back to the offense now for a minute. I'm gonna backtrack for a second, guys, to the just to the highlight page because clearly the clips are not working. All right, so it all started with this Kyle Teal home run, which I thought really broke the glass because McLean looked unbelievable in that first. This is not it. McLean looked unbelievable in that first inning, punching out the side. It's kind of the curse of the punching out the side. I used to do this back in the day as a minor leaguer. I would come out guns blazing, look great, and it's kind of a curse, you know? After that, you just end in a weird spot because like you take your foot off the gas, maybe you think it's going to be easy. And I also think with Italy's lineup being so left-handed, God damn it. Sorry, guys, I'm getting really freaking stressed over this. We can't get any clips. I'm sorry, you guys. Everything's so slow. Everything's not loading. There we go. All right. Let's get it back here. So look at this pitch again. Let's get another look at it. McLean, 2 outs, nobody on in the first, absolutely cruising to this point, just trying to get ahead, doing what he's supposed to do. I think it's a good pitch. It's just a better swing. He comes up, takes him into the Crawford boxes, punches him in the mouth, stays flat at the top of the zone. And from watching this kid's at bats over the first couple days getting to know him, he's not going to give you an inch. He doesn't care who you are. He doesn't care how good you've been looking. He's going to come up there with a plan. I know it's okay. Sorry, I got so frustrated. I think it's just the website's messed up today. Anyway, that was the first one, and then you got to really give a lot of credit to this kid too. White Sox prospect Sam Antonacci. This is not an easy pitch to hit. Up in, perfect location. Kind of hard to fault McLean with this location. But Antonacci's all over it. Keeps the hands inside and just beats him to the spot. 96 dotted. That's generally a pretty safe pitch. You're not going to see a lot of damage on pitches there. But you know what? I've been talking about it a lot. Shorter guys, a lot of the modern hitters who have been now used to getting pitched up for a while, they can cover the top of the zone. And that's what he did right there. He stayed very short to the ball. And, you know, just between Teal and Antonacci, and not to mention the other guys that I'm, like, really into on the White Sox, they're starting to look a little more exciting. Like, when's Antonacci going to get up there? Kid's a good player. And then just to add insult to injury, this home run by Jack is just mauled. And I mentioned that he's a creature. Like, he's a different type of athlete. being up close to him, you can see that his ceiling physically is just different than other guys. He's there's nothing normal about Caglianone's size. So all you need him to do is touch the ball. Like he's literally a special talent in the vein of a Stanton or a Judge, literally. He's a mountain, he's fast, he's jacked, he's ripped. He's got it all. Like he's literally a freak. I really love it. And the bat flip's a little much, and I think Vinny told him don't do that ever again, but it was also awesome. And it was also awesome. I mean, who flings the bat across the entire across the entire field? But it's funny because when I first looked at the Italian roster, like when we were getting ready for this tournament, I thought we were going to be a speed, defense, contact type of team, and we're literally winning by hitting home runs. So it's very odd. So that was the majority of the offense. They did there was a crazy play that actually ended up looming really large here. Where is it? Really bad error here. Yeah, here it is with Keller on the mound. Double play ball. And it just throws like kind of a tough pick for Bobby where the base is kind of in the way. And that kind of set us up to get, those tack-on runs. That ended up being really big because obviously you're not going to hold down the U.S. forever. They came storming back. I thought this was a great play by Antonacci, this mad dash. You don't see people go on plays like this. Hardly ever. That ball barely got away. That's unbelievable anticipation. And you can see the kid's playing with some edge. He's got some anger to him. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that anticipation and just commitment to getting there. Keller is like, I don't even know I have to even go home on that play. So all of a sudden, I'm very high on this Antonacci guy. I mean, not only does he turn around a McLean, fastball up and in, he played a nice shortstop. And then this play right here is just pure grit and desire and anticipation and just piss and vinegar, right? So these little things made the difference. Obviously, those home runs mattered, but these little things made the difference. We didn't stop playing when we were up 6-7-0 in this game. Like, try to put the hammer down, just knowing that every run's going to matter. So that's the offensive side. Let me see if I go play-by-play. Let's try this one more time. Let's see if we can get McLean, because McLean was ridiculous in the first inning. And, if you're a Mets fan, there's nothing to worry about no, it's already bad. It's already bad. There's nothing to worry about for McLean, but I mentioned on this show a couple days ago that I thought because the way that we can stack the lineup left-handed, and I know, and I'm very well aware that he has good splits versus lefties in his short sample in the big leagues. But I just think that if you stack the lineup with enough lefties, eventually he becomes a little bit more predictable. You start to see his sequences. You start to see what he wants to do. You start to look for opportunities to jump his fastball in particular, because McLean has great pitches, but ultimately his breaking stuff is his best stuff. Like curveball's unhittable. The fastball, that four seam, it's not great shape. It's good velocity, but that's a possible potential spot of weakness. I would say the cutter and the four seam. Other than that, he's elite. You're not going to beat him on sinkers. You're not going to beat him on changeups, and you're certainly not going to beat him on sweepers or sliders or curveballs very often. Almost never on curveballs unless he just doesn't land them. But they were able to jump 2 fastballs there, and that was kind of the difference. Tail to left and Antonacci to right. And again, I think just the breakdown of the lefties in the lineup made a big difference. All right, let me look at McLean on the day, because he did come out like gangbusters and he did look incredible off the rip. Like, no doubt about it. 31% curve, 27% sweeper. I mentioned those are his 2 best pitches. 16% four seam, 13% sinker, 7% cutter, 5% changeup. Velocity was amazing. I mean, he came out the game throwing 97, 98. He averaged 97.1 on his four seam yesterday. He looked really good. Again, he just got clipped by those 2 pitches, so I got to give credit where credit's due to those 2 hitters. If I'm a Met fan, I don't worry at all. Even after the game, I'm talking with Aaron Nola. We both kind of agreed. He's already like a top 20 pitcher in the big leagues. Just a little unfortunate that his first piece of adversity came in this game, which is something that might be remembered forever if the unthinkable happens today and Mexico was to beat us in a low-scoring game and then U.S. doesn't advance. It's all going to look very bad. It's all going to be a part of history. They're not going to want to be a part of. But either way, I mean, this guy, the sky's the limit. Like he's one of the few guys that I could see a world in which he could get in the conversation, up there with Skeens and those guys. That's how good I think McLean is. Look at the spin that he's putting on these breaking balls. Yesterday, he averaged 34.01 on his curveball. I mean, rarely do you ever see anything over 32. That's 200 RPM higher than that. 32.10 on the sweeper. So those are both up off of his averages from last year. So as good as he was last year, he's making a push early, at least physically, to come back with even better stuff this year. Obviously, we know about his pitchability, and it's going to be rare that people are going to clip him like we did yesterday. But I just wanted to touch on McLean for a minute because he was really good. It's just like he got clipped. And then Yarborough, Yarborough's a really good guy. I thought we would see him in this game given our lefty-lefty matchup. But in a chase situation, you would have thought they would have went and put the hammer down a little more with some of their really diabolical relief options. And you saw that they eventually got there. Eventually they went to, Keller, Spire, Bednar, and Miller to keep it close. And that was a really good strategy down the stretch of this game. Bednar, by the way, really spamming splitters, which was interesting. I wish we could get all the clips because he did a great job throwing splitters in a big spot to both, who was it? Nori and Marcy as well. So sometimes when you see a flat bat path, you just keep spamming the splitters. But again, like they just kind of had to play chase in this game. Man, the clips are still messed up, even all the way in the 8th inning of this game. I wanted to go pitch by pitch, Weissert versus Judge. There's really a lot of things I wanted to look at. All right, let's look at the USA stuff when they did score the runs. To be fair, we gotta watch what they did too. PCA had a really good game, obviously. Smacked 2 homers. First one's a changeup. This is the third changeup in 4 pitches in this at bat from Alec. I thought he should have elevated a little bit more. The pitch right before the home run was a high fastball that PCA just sliced straight back, and I think they read it as he was on it. But I thought he was late, and also given his propensity to chase, with a 1-2 count and leverage on PCA, you can't throw a ball over the plate. Once again, I don't know what's happening, man. This is just like really just. We'll try this again. Yeah, I mean, Alec Jacob has a very interesting changeup, screwball type thing, very slow, but he showed him too many of them. And the pitch prior was a pitch up. And from his angle, he's going to be able to throw a very uphill ball. I just would have elevated again, and we'll probably have to learn from that in the future. But PCA did what he was supposed to do, and he actually single-handedly brought them back into this game. I mean, there's 2 outs in that inning. If he doesn't do that, if he doesn't connect there, we're way ahead, and we kind of cruised to victory. But that made it a lot more interesting. And then this one too, like I don't blame Ron for trying to go off script there, outside of the fastball and changeup game that he usually throws. He just again, he missed over the plate in a 2-strike count. PCA, very similar to like Javi Baez when he's young, like electric player, but swings too much out of the zone. So you got to use that to your advantage. I mean, that's really all you can do. You say, okay, if you're going to swing at everything, then I'm going to throw you balls. But either way, I mean, great job by him. He came up clutch out of the 9-hole and really dragged them back into this game. There's also a Gunner home run right here. This is just a middle down fastball from Altalavia. I mean, he's just going to go right at you with good stuff. This was just a mistaken location, and obviously you're up 8-0 at the time. So the most important thing there is to make them earn everything. And, that's fine. A solo shot never beats you. I didn't think this was bad pitching, but obviously Gunner, middle down, I mean, this is his spot. Great swing. That's a bomb. That ball does not fly to center in this ballpark, by the way. Yeah, the 3-run jack by PCA really changed the game. Oh, and thank you for the bless me on the sneeze. I appreciate that. So that was that, and then Roman had a nice at bat. They put together a good 2-out rally on Festa here. Really good job, kind of coming through with a couple 2-strike hits. Roman's always going to work a good at bat. He stays inside a ball above the zone and gets a hit here, and that brought up a couple big moments. Let me see if I can go back to the play-by-play one more time, and we're going to try to find it because there was a couple huge leverage pitches that were made in this game. This was the first one that was really crazy, was this Bryce Harper at bat versus Ron Marinaccio. They bring him in. You know, Harper's aggressive. I generally like the matchup of Marinaccio versus Harper. But that being said, oh my God, they don't even have it. They already skipped it. I hope that they come back later and scrub it. But he's got a good changeup. He got him the fish. He got him the pop up. That was a big play. That was a huge leverage out there that really mattered. And then, of course, what Weissert did at the end. Now, I doubt these clips are going to be right because it's been bad all game. But Weissert was amazing, punching both guys out with changeups. He's come so far. When he first came up in the league, he was just known for the sinker sweeper. The sweeper is still incredible, but now he's become such more of a well-rounded pitcher. And it really paid off in a huge spot last night. It's not like Judge hasn't seen him a lot. Like, Judge has seen him a ton. So, without being able to watch every pitch here because our thing's a little messed up, the sequence to Judge, right? He tries to go sinker in first pitch, ends up pulling it, but he dots it back door for strike one. So that was key, jumping ahead in the count. Then he goes with that sweeper, probably what Judge is looking for. But if you recall, it was kind of an upshoot sweeper. And when Judge came to it, he was slicing under it just enough. And that got him to 0-2. And then from there, you're able to read the at-bat and go off the script a little bit. And that's what he did. He went gyro slider down and away. Great take by Judge. As soon as he got the take there, he knew he was swinging out of the middle to in lane. And he goes with the changeup. A pitch he had not seen yet. All he had seen was sinker and 2 breaking balls. So the changeup comes out of the same lane, drops below the zone. All he can do is chase it, and that's the ball game. Now, where is here it is. This is the final pitch, which we've seen a bunch of times. But, I mean, the location on this is just couldn't be better. Look at that. Starts it in that middle down lane. If it's a sinker, it's probably pretty close to the zone down in. That's a great place for Judgy to swing, but it just never gets there. Look at the fade on that. Just a great job. Just a great job. He came up so clutch, and really it's awesome to see. He banded together. Obviously, the team was taking on water there big time in the bullpen, but a big pitch there by Weissert kind of ends the game. So now, obviously, we have this tiebreaker. We have this tiebreaker situation, and everybody knows if it's a low-scoring game and Mexico wins, USA has to go home. If it's a high-scoring game, USA will be on no matter what, and then pretty much the winner of the game will move on today. So, the idea is just to win the game if you're Italy. If Italy wins, USA is fine. But, yeah, they left themselves exposed to a possibility of something that could happen. What other plays happened in this game? Did you see this play? I'm right out there in the bullpen. Man, totally scary play. Nobody called it, by the way. I was saying, you got room. You got room. You got room. And nobody knew who had room or who didn't have room. And somehow Marcy catches it beyond Nori's glove there. That's me on the bottom right corner with my little Italian headband, if you can see me. I'm way down. I'm way down there, just watching it, taking it all in. That was a great play. What else we got in here? I guess we should watch the Nolan McLean strikeouts because the first inning was kind of ridiculously good. So it's always worth watching. His breaking stuff is just so vicious. Look at that. That's just perfect curveball backdoor. Nothing you can do about that. It's got so much spin that, out of the hand, it feels like there's no way it could come back. There's the sweeper to birdie. I had a scout tell me this morning, actually, at breakfast that He was more impressed with McLean. That was the first time he saw him in person with his stuff than even Skeens. And he's not that far off. Skeens has a probably better fastballs, and it's like more of a slow and then it explodes on you type of thing. But McLean's got better breaking balls, and they have just as much know-how, I think. So he's pretty incredible. But obviously, he got clipped there a little bit. And then Mason Miller. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's unfair. I don't know what you do against him. I mean, theoretically, you could sit slider because it's a slower pitch, and you might be able to hit it. But it's also his best pitch, so you might just chase it all day. He had a very, very easy ninth inning. Obviously, he's up to 102, so you can't ignore that. But that's what I'm saying. Do you just bypass the heater? There's a changeup, too. That was an unfair changeup right there from Mace. This pitch made me giggle a little bit in the bullpen, even though it's against us, because he doesn't need to do this. He doesn't need to drop a 96-mile-an-hour changeup on us. That's diabolical shit, dude. Let me go look at his data from the game, too, because he's just different. He is just different. Mason Miller. Yeah, he threw one changeup at 96-1, and it was 4-10. But, when you're on 100 at 16-6, that's a pretty big contrast. And then the breaking ball just -3. To get into the negative vert territory at 90 miles an hour or whatever that slider is just ridiculous. And ultimately, he's the best pitcher. He might be the best guy pitch for pitch in the big leagues now. You don't want to face him. He's wipeout. As long as he gets ahead in the count, and really the slider command has come around to a really epic level, you're just not going to be able to beat him. So anyway, looking forward to today. It's going to be Nola, and it's going to be they have TBA here, but I already know it's going to be Javier Assad. So this should be a good matchup. Assad can really pitch. Nola can really pitch. Both teams need to win. Both teams are pretty good. Should be a gritty, grimy game, and I think a lot of people will want to watch it because there's a lot of implications for 3 different teams here. So it should be pretty good. All right, let's get into the chat here for a minute. Got 89 of you beautiful people in here right now, so it's great. Obviously, I saw Bam Adebayo had 83 points yesterday, which is insane. I don't know enough about it, but I don't know. I thought the story of the night was definitely Italy taking down the U.S. All right, let me go through your questions here a little bit. Antonacci is good. I'm very curious about this kid. He's surprised me. He's got a little bit of shit to him, man. You got to have a little bit of a dick in you sometimes, or you got to be a little bit of an ass at times, or a little crappy. You know what I mean? Like a little pissy sometimes to really like just play with that edge that you need to play. All right, here's Sam last year. 3 different teams up to AA, 291, 433 on base, 409 slug, 842 OPS. That's incredible. 471 on base from the kid. Not much pop, so it's surprising that he was able to turn around that McLean shot. 5 home runs on the year last year. Absolutely does not strike out. I really like this guy's game. 55 hit, 35 power. I mean, shit. Maybe you got to upgrade that power grade. 45 run, 50 arm, 50 field. Overall, 45. So he's a D2 junior college national player of the year. He hit 515 at that level. Then he went to Coastal and hit 367 with a 523 on base. So he's an on-base machine. And honestly, I'm getting more excited about the White Sox future. This guy's cool. Teal is a very interesting player. Another guy who plays with a little bit of an edge. He's got a little dog in him. Really good hitter at the catcher position, which is rare. So I'm starting to get excited about some of these White Sox guys. I don't know if Sam will get up there this year, but he's a good player, man. Look at this. They're on it. Though Antonacci possesses just fringy speed, he's an aggressive runner who will steal and take extra bases. Then we played shortstop at Heartland and third at Coastal. He fits best at second. I thought he played a pretty good short yesterday for us in this game. But again, that aggressive running, taking the extra base, that run was massive that he went and got all by himself. So I'm excited for this kid, man. He was awesome. That was really good. So good question in the chat, or a good comment in the chat about Antonacci. All right, what else we got here? Yeah, he did play a great short. Did that pitch hit the batter in the 7th that would have scored the 9th Italian run on a wild pitch? Yeah, I think it did. I think it did. I think it hit him in the foot. That was unfortunate. That cost us a run for sure. Marcy's been struggling a little bit. They've been killing him with off-speed pitches down, changeup splits down. He's very flat bat, which is going to play great overall, I think, with velocity. But the U.S., you can tell they studied us a little bit. Again, Bednar spam splitters yesterday, and that was big in a big spot. All right, what's the difference between him and before the surgery, Dustin May? I assume you're talking about McLean. There's not a whole lot of difference, except that I would say McLean has a better feel for pitching and is probably a better defender. A little bit bigger mix pre-surgery than Dustin May, but similar spin. Obviously, Dustin had probably a bigger sinker. McLean's sinker is more of a drop, doesn't have as much run, so that's a little bit of a difference. But I don't know. I guess you could make that comparison a little bit because they both have good stuff. Always thought going with McLean versus Italy was weird, but he didn't pitch poorly. He just got beat. 100%. Did not pitch poorly, just got beat. Very important distinction there. If it went to extras, apparently Kershaw was coming. That's what they said on the international telecast. I just don't get it. I'm confused. Now, if you're getting blown out and you know that you're not going to win and you want to save your pitchers, like that's when a guy like me or Kershaw pitches in this tournament. But in a close game, like every run matters because there's consequences with run differential, so you need to figure that out. I thought Ron should have just thrown changeups out of the zone versus PCA. I like I mentioned in that matchup, PCA, great player. I mean, one of my favorites. I mean, you could see it yesterday why he's so good. He's explosive on offense, defense. But look, when you're looking for weaknesses and you're a pitcher and you're going to face somebody, I mean, look at the chase percentage, 2nd percentile. I mean, it's that simple. Give him a chance to swing at a bad pitch. So that's what we messed up there. Obviously, it happens. There's human error all the time, and that's what makes baseball. You could have a good plan. Doesn't mean you're going to execute it. All right, what else we got here? Yeah, I don't understand these clips either. It kind of sucks. Hoping that Italy throws the game and loses so Mexico wins and the U.S. is out. Yeesh. They gave Miller a higher slot so he was able to get more cut. I don't know about that, but he's unreal. Adam, are you going to get to pitch? I don't think I'm going to get to pitch tonight. I mean, I'll certainly be ready. I'll do everything and be ready, and we'll see where the game takes us. But look, I'm a backup option. I'm like sort of a player coach in this situation. I'm helping the guys. I'm trying to get them prepared. I'm trying to keep the guys, in the right mind frame. And I'm getting ready to contribute. But, the truth is I'm not the same pitcher at this moment. So, they got to go with who they got to go with. That's the most important thing. I looked up the stats. I don't think there's anyone on the team, Italy, that was actually born in Italy. We have 4 guys that are native Italians. Quattrini, Scotti, Aldegheri, Martini. We have like 4 or 5. The rest are Italian Americans. But that's the rules of this tournament. All right, what else we got here? Do we think the WBC should be every 2 years during the All-Star break? I feel like it's opening to allow guys more rest, plus everyone's built up and the injury risk is lowered. I would have as much of this as possible, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure the calculus. Maybe it's a little more special when it's every 4 years, or is it that great that you think you can push it up to multiple tournaments within a short time frame? I don't know, but there's no doubt this shit is fun. When it got to 8-0, thought we might see you. Even then, I mean, the run differential matters, so you're trying to keep the numbers down. I don't see a scenario where I'm pitching. I mean, I'll be ready, but I don't see a scenario. Kershaw pitching extras might go back to Dero, not really realizing the U.S. hadn't clinched. But it's also not just all on Dero. Like, I know Dero's getting piled on, and I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it, but there's Michael Hill who runs the team. There's all the other coaches, the players. Did nobody read the rules? I'm just confused. I'm just confused by that a little bit. Do you warm up every game thinking you will pitch? I mean, I play catch every day. I keep my arm going. I stay loose during the game because you have to be ready always. You're ready no matter what. But I mean, you kind of know. I kind of know going in. It's pretty unlikely. I'm not. Pretty unlikely I'll play. Any dinner with one of your former teammates on their teams? No. They're staying at a different hotel because they're bougie like that. And honestly, like you got to keep the separation right now. I mean, I've talked with a bunch of my buddies. I said hi to a lot of them on the field yesterday. I mean, I know like 20 of the guys over there, plus the coaches, and I love all those guys. But yeah, like I mean, I'm in the foxhole with the Italians right now. Like we're trying to win some ball games, and you kind of have to keep that separation a little bit. He's getting de-roasted out there. That's just a funny thing, so I had to put that in there. Scarcity increases demand. It is every 2 or every year there would be less interest, in my opinion. It's insane that a team made up of a few $1 billion worth of contracts as a coach that doesn't understand the rules. I just don't know what happened there. I don't know. I only they know, and obviously there's a little bit of an attempt to like cover this up a little bit, but I mean, dude, it just is what it is. The internet remembers. The internet does not forget anything. All right, we can circle back to this game later. We can talk more Italy, U.S. We'll preview the Mexico game in a little bit. But there were some other important games that happened yesterday as well, including Canada, Puerto Rico. Now, Canada is now going to shot. They're going to 2-1 versus Cuba today, 2-1. The winner will move on to the second round along with Puerto Rico. They did a good job. 3 guys through 3 innings for Canada. And they came through with a really nice win in Puerto Rico versus Puerto Rico. So not the easiest thing to do. And let's check the highlights right now. There's Yachty, the baseball genius, managing Puerto Rico for the second time. Probably managed him when he was catching, to be honest. But between him and Maldonado, they're in great hands. I've talked about how important catching is and why I'm worried about losing Teal. But I truly believe, like, if you have a great catcher, you can kind of work through almost anything in terms of decision-making on the mound, and you can really guardrail your team really well. And that's what this team has, not only in their manager, but also in Maldonado. All right, Nolan coming through with a base hit early, getting Puerto Rico on the board. He had a good day finally yesterday, 3 for 4, and some good defense. Nice play here by Denzel Clark. Little flip over to get Helio Ramos head into third. Nolan, I know he was dying to contribute, so he did a good job there. Third inning, Canada time. Oh, no, a little pop-up. Here's Nolan. Little slide action. And that field's been very wet this entire tournament, so there's been a lot of slip sliding. But nobody in baseball, I'd rather be chasing a foul pop-up that I've ever played with than my guy Nato. Denzel Clark to right, base hit. Edouard Julien, looper to right. Clark to third. Naylor, right off the elbow. Now he's got a swellbow. Base is chucked. Yachty says no mas. Tyler O'Neill. Muscle man. Spits on the 2-2 to get to 3-2. Spits on the 3-2 for the walk. 2 very good pitches. Doesn't get a chase on either of them, and that forces home the first run for Canada. Just great takes there. And then another 3-2 walk. So, you know, Puerto Rico kind of does it to themselves a little bit with the base on balls. Good discipline by Canada. And they're able to get 2 there. This was just a really tight game, and because they didn't have the full complement of their pitchers, they had to go with 3 different starters to get the dub today. Get the dub last night. Here's how they got the other run. Casey to left, slashing it. Little double. He's had a nice little run in the tournament. And then Abraham Toro to right. Casey scores. Puerto Rico is able to get a run here in a minute, but they end up winning 3-2 for Canada. So huge win. I know they had that tough loss earlier in the tournament. I believe it was to Panama. But yeah, they're going to have a shot. They're going to go head-to-head today with Cuba. Winner comes here to Texas, along with Puerto Rico, which is pretty cool. Logan Allen. Nolan did have a good day. Got plenty of knocks. I think 3 knocks. Puerto Rico playing that small ball. Christian Vasquez, great bunter for a catcher. There's been a rain delay in almost every game, huh, at night? Martin, Maldonado, Machete. They play the infield back, which I liked in this situation. You can't afford to give up a crooked number with the infield in there. Good strategy by Canada. And then good pitching the rest of the way. I mean, from the 5th to the 9th, they throw up zeros the rest of the way. Here is the 9th inning. Tough play. Denzel's on it. Ground ball to Otto Lopez. And then the final out right here. Emmanuel Rivera, I believe. Grounder to second, Julian. And Canada holds on 3-2. Great game. Now, it didn't mean much for Puerto Rico, and that's one of the interesting things about the WBC sometimes is you have a team that's not motivated or a team that is motivated, and that can make a big difference in the wins and the losses. But Canada needed this one. They do get the job done. I mentioned it was 3 pitchers. It was Balazovic, Allen, and Dick Horn, all with 3 innings apiece. Dick Horn in general, 3 innings, no hits, no runs, no walks, 1 strikeouts, faces the minimum over the last 3 innings. Does a really great job. Only major league appearance ever for him came in 2017 Astros. 1 game, he threw 2/3 of an inning, gave up 2 hits and struck out 1. So his entire career, he got 1 game in the big leagues. So this was probably his biggest, most important outing of his life. Very cool to see. And that does set us up for today's matchup with Cuba. Curious who's going to be on the mound. Cal Quantrill for Canada. So they have a major leaguer going. And then this guy's really good too. Levon Moniello, one of the best pitchers in NPB. So I think this is going to be a very, very good game, a very, very cool game to watch. What time is that game on? 2 p.m. my time? Perfect. So I'll be able to watch that today. And we'll see if Canada or Cuba can punch their ticket to come over here to Houston and face one of the 3 teams over here. We're not sure who's advancing yet. So this has gotten pretty fascinating. We have 3 fun games tonight. Obviously, all the circumstances with us versus Mexico, and then also this Dominican-Venezuela game, which has a lot of significance as well because the loser has to play Japan in the next round in the quarters. The winner gets to get Korea, right? And I think that's a pretty big distinction there, a pretty big difference. So they're both going for it. Sandy and Erod, I think they love an opportunity to go at each other, the Dominican and the Venezuelans, because they both want this game for pride. So if it meant nothing, that would be kind of a shame, but it does have meaning. So it should be really good. All right, let me get back in the chat here for a minute. Do WBC teams have anything in the way of scouting and analytics to help prep matchups like an MLB teams? Are players relying on their own knowledge experience? As a matter of fact, we do. We have analytics people. We have video people. They're building scouting reports. And our staff has a ton of know-how between Frank Menachino on the hitting side, Sal Fasano on the catching game planning side, Dave Righetti, tons of big-time knowledge. We got a lot of knowledge, and not to mention some players with some experience, but we have a lot of data. We have a lot of information. I'm sure all the teams do, and that stuff you take it with a grain of salt, and it is important. But I also think you have to remember this is a small sample size situation, and you have to play it that way. You have to play the hot hand. You have to play small ball sometimes. You really have to react to the situation. So I feel like it's a factor, but it's not the same as like in a major league regular season where you can play the long game a lot of the time, and like that type of information kind of drives your identity as a team. Like we're just trying to win some baseball. I'm trying to win some baseball games one at a time. All right, so Panama, Canada gave up 3 unearned runs to lose 4-3. Yeah, that was the game with Pax on the mound where shit went haywire. So other than that, they'd be through already. But now they have to, well, I guess they wouldn't be through because Cuba could beat them heads up here. So no matter what, it wouldn't have mattered. It comes down to this game versus Cuba. Canada pitcher has a funny name. Hey, Ted, I was thinking about this, Ted. You've been pumping the lefty lineup for a long time, right? And if you go ahead and you think a little bit about the lineup that we put out there yesterday, or we've been putting out there in this tournament, the Italian lineup, right? We have a couple righties. We got Birdie, we got DeCenzo. But other than that, this team is extremely, extremely left-handed. And I'm starting to think, like, what would stop a team from going with a strategy of like 9 or 10 rostered left-handed batters? I understand that they have to face a lot of left-on-left pitchers, but theoretically, the more exposure they get to them, the more competent they would get in those matchups. And there's a limit to how many lefties other teams have. And a lot of righties struggle to get out lefties. So Ted, maybe this could be a potential meta here. Just stack your team with as many lefties as possible, and that's one thing that makes us tough to pitch to. Marcy left-handed, Pasquantino left-handed, Canzone left-handed, Teal left-handed, Cags left-handed, Antonaccio left-handed, Nori left-handed, and some other guys on the bench too, Fisher, etc. So it's an interesting group. It's an interesting thing to look at. It's one of the reasons why I felt like we could scratch a few off of McLean, because a lot of it is like, as good as he is, if he keeps having to repeat the same things over and over again, you can start to get onto a guy a little bit. Or he just gets bored of pitching the same way, and now all of a sudden he's pitching with a suboptimal strategy as time goes on. So I don't know. It's intriguing. You don't see a lot of it, but our team is certainly built that way, and so far, so good. So far, it's working. We've scored a ton of runs in this tournament and even in the exhibition games. So we'll see if that continues tonight versus Mexico. All right, let me get back in the chat here in a minute. I am so proud of the Wops. Dude, we are something else. The vibes are just hilarious in the Italian locker room, I'll tell you that. Basically comes down to winner take all games. I mean, this is great. This tournament's awesome. And after today, we're into single eliminations. We're into the quarters and the semis, and it's going to be all great teams. So I think this is going to be great. If you keep Mexico below 5 runs, you advance. Can that affect the game plan? Always playing to avoid the crooked number on defense. I mean, I guess it could, but I truly believe that this team just needs to just go out and try to win the baseball game. If you win the baseball game, you're in. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't worry about all the implications. That's other people's stuff to worry about. We win the game, we're in. I think that's it. It's kind of hard to play any other way. I could see a scenario where maybe you manage a little differently late in the game. Say it's a low-scoring game. Both teams know that if the score remains the same, they move forward. I mean, not to say you lay down, but you could see that thought coming into people's heads, like, why are we fighting so hard to beat each other? I don't know. This reminds me a lot of that game that 163rd day where we played the 2 games versus the Braves, Mets versus Braves at the end of 24. And if one team won both games, the Diamondbacks would have been in. But if each team won one game, they both got to go to the playoffs, and that's the way it played out. Each team won one game. So I don't know. I don't think you'll see any weird shenanigans early in the game. Certainly you want to keep the spirit of competition correct and play with integrity, but you never know down the stretch of the game. I mean, some stuff to think about. Well, we ought to watch how this one plays out. This is just so fascinating because you don't get this type of action in real baseball too often. When Korea had to beat Australia, they also had to avoid giving up more than 2 runs to advance, so they really had to prevent any run to score. I mean, at the end of the day, like, we're going to pitch all of our best pitching options today, and so was Mexico. So if anything, that's, that kind of leans into the idea of run prevention, but there's nothing guaranteed in this sport. I mean, most people thought we were going to get run ruled probably yesterday by USA, but it's baseball, so you just never know. WBC made a mistake having this important game on Tubi. They need to bring it onto Fox Sport 1. They should absolutely flex this game. This game's so fascinating. People are going to have to watch it. It should not be on Tubi. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Where does Mason Miller land when it comes to all-time hardest guys to hit? I mean, dude, he's up there. Billy Wagner is the all-time hardest guy to hit, considering the amount of innings he pitched. And there's been a ton of guys that are really hard to hit. But Mason Miller, I mean, he blowtorched the entire league in the second half last year. I have a video up on my channel if you want to watch that. And I expect more of the same out of him. Oh, they moved it already to FS1? Good. 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 Very important. So for a minute, I thought this was going to happen. For a minute, we were up 8-0 in like the fifth or sixth. I was like, man, we tack on another run or two here and keep pitching the way we're pitching, we might get the mercy rule. Now it ended up coming down to a bit of much more of a nail biter stitch. But anyway, the point remains. The point remains. All right. What else happened yesterday? I mean, was there something else that we didn't break down? I mean, this was kind of a game that didn't matter. Israel and Netherlands. We'll just go to the highlights of Israel and Netherlands just to recap this one. Netherlands ended up having a tough tournament. And if not for the walk-off home run, they would have went 0-4. They just don't have enough pitching to compete at the moment. Obviously, we know about the hitters they have. So, Israel ends up going 2-2 in this tournament. Losing to both Venezuela and DR, but beating Nicaragua and Netherlands. So, a fun showing for those guys. But ultimately, they will not be moving on, and this game didn't really matter. But still cool to watch these guys play. You get to see a lot of players that you wouldn't automatically get to see on the big stage. There was a couple pitchers. There was a pitcher, I think Cohen, for the Israel team that was really, really nasty in this game. Obviously, we don't get to see Serdidi play that much anymore, so it's always a joy to watch him play. And I believe this final score was 6-2. It's so funny. Joe's Stone Crab is in Miami waiting for us. Well, we're going to have to win 2 more games, this one and then our quarterfinal game to actually get to Miami. But the boys have been talking more 11, a little less Joe Stone's Crab. They've been talking a little more 11, so we'll see what happens. This is definitely the most since the postseason. So thanks for everybody hanging today. This is great. And we'll keep it kicking for at least another hour here. I think there's a bunch of stuff, even some spring training stuff to check up on. I think Sasaki finally had a really good outing yesterday, so I'm curious about that one. I feel like if you could learn a Vulcan, you could thrive again in today's game. Giant hands and you don't need hella gas. Look, I mean, pitchability can play in the big leagues right now. It's just there's not as much certainty with it. Teams are always going to hedge on the side of stuff. So, oof. Little error here. And this is when Israel really gets it popping in the 6th. I think they score 5 runs here in the 6th. And they have actually some big leaguers in their bullpen. Canley pitched in this game. My guy, Matt Bowman. They did a nice job on the mound in this one. Tough go for the Netherlands, though. This is a team that's been very successful in this tournament. And, this just wasn't their year. Here's Shrek. Here's Geloff. Little roller through the hole. Xander couldn't quite get there. The turf makes these ground balls get through everywhere. Little line drive to left. Good swing there by Mervis. Matt Mervis. Never nervous, Mervis. And then that's where they go from there. They hold on 6-2. They finish 2-2 in their pool. And they'll all go back to spring training. There's Tommy. Getting Didi to ground out. You get Didi to hit the ball the other way, you're usually doing a good thing. He wants to pull it. Then here's the final out. Simon, this guy's got some serious shit to him. He started one of the games the other day, I think. I mean, he's pumping 95, 98. That's weird. Why is it not showing? Are we frozen? Hold on. It's playing on my iPad, so now I'm confused. Oh, shit. Dude, we're having such technical difficulties today. It's actually wild. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. Let's try to reset the old iPad here. Technical difficulties for the moment. The video was playing on my iPad the whole time. I'm looking down at my iPad, and then it's just not showing up on the screen, which is kind of crazy. Can you tell Cervelli to make the hat look? He doesn't design the hats. You think the manager is also the merch designer? No. The Federation does that stuff. All right, let's see if this will kick back in. Come on, iPad. Can't do the show without you. Alrighty. Why are we tilted like that? There we go. All right, let's see if we can actually see anything now. Like were you seeing any of this stuff? Hold on. Okay, yeah, this is how the game finally got sealed. Bro, stop. You keep saying that Cervelli needs to do it. He's not in charge. He's just the manager. He's not in charge of anything except for just managing the team. Dude, you're cracking me up. Anyway, this guy Simon was pretty nasty. There's also a picture in this game for Israel. Hold on, let me go to the data. In this game, there was a Mets prospect who looked really sharp. He has got good stuff. Curious about it. Harrison Cohen, 64% cutter, 21% fastball, 15% changeup. Got 45% whiff on his cutter. He looked pretty good. He was interesting. He pitched really well in this game. His fastball is 18-6. Cutter's 6 and -3. Changeup's 2 and 17. That's a huge contrast between fastball and changeup. So he looked pretty good. Let me go back to the play-by-play here and see if I can actually watch him pitch for a minute. Oh my God, I'm sorry. We're going to have to back that up. All right, here's a strikeout of Drew Jones. Dirty. Great leg kick, too, on this kid. Great leg kick on this kid. And Chadwick Trump. Gets him waving off the plate. And then Didier. So punching the side. Dirty cutter. Dirty pitch. So anyway, just checking up on everything baseball, everything that's been going on around. Good morning, Adam. How many guys out in the bullpen picked your brain about the batters they're facing? Every single guy. And it's not just me. Weissert as well, Marinaccio. We have some guys with some know-how. Sal Fasano, he's been around forever. He's our bullpen coach. He knows these guys. So we have a lot of good conversations, and we're helping these guys through it. For the most part, you got to pitch with your strengths, but you got to be aware of certain things. Cervelli, it'd be interesting to see what he wants to do. I know he's living between the Dominican and Italy right now, which is an interesting combo. But he's going to be he's just an interesting guy. Very big competitor. Obviously a catcher, so knows the game from that standpoint. Should be pretty good. All right, let's just to reiterate this. Italy game is no longer just on Tubi. I think it's Fox 1. That's a big deal. We'll circle back to preview these games later, but we should look a little bit at some stuff from spring training yesterday. There's a couple things to check up on. I know we have WBC fever, but there's only a couple games to break down yesterday, so that didn't take very long on the stream necessarily. All right, let me go to my box scores here from yesterday. Let me check up on a couple things. Now, I don't know if Roki didn't pitch in a major league game. He pitched on a backfield game and shredded everybody, so we're not going to get that data. That kind of sucks. I was curious about this Braves Blue Jays game because J.R. Richie, who's a big prospect, we finally got to get a look at him. He pitched 4 innings, 2 runs, 4 walks. Cease went 3 innings, 2 hits, 3 Ks. So we can break down both of those guys. On the offensive side, just seeing really quick. Nothing crazy, nothing crazy. All right, let's go look at the data from this game, and then we'll go watch it a little bit. Atlanta and Toronto. All right, first, J.R. Richie, potentially a rookie this year. Second prospect on the Braves. Obviously, we know about their starting pitching issues, so this guy needs to be a factor for them. This is what he looked like yesterday from a breakdown standpoint. 14 fastballs, 12 changeups, 12 sinkers, 8 cutters, 7 sweepers, 7 curveballs. So a heavy mix of the not as much moving pitches, 4-seam, changeup, sinker, cutter, and then a little bit less of his actual breaking balls. Velocity sat at 94.8 on the 4, 94 on the sinker. Changeup's only 88.8, so not a ton of separation. But look at that induced vertical break, -3 on average, which tells me that's a quality pitch, and it makes sense that he's throwing a lot. He also got 67% whiff on it. What he struggled with yesterday was the strike zone, 39% strikes. Now, real quick, if I go look at his prospect breakdown, what does it say about his command here? He's got 50 control. Last year, where's his walks under control? 54 walks in 140 innings. I mean, it's fine. It's nothing crazy, but it's fine. All right, I was curious to see that. All right, so let's go to the Dugout app. Finally, we can watch the games a little smoother here. Atlanta Bravos and Toronto Blue Jays. Don't worry, we'll look at Cease next. J.R. Richie, guy that we've been curious to watch for a bit here. All right, first batter of the game, Mr. George Springer. Sinker, little jam sandwich to third. Good pitch there. 5.4 and 16.4. It's a nice shape. I like that. Now he's going to get a first pitch out on a 4-seam to Mr. Sanchez. Ground ball to short. I had to pause. Did you say 11? Yeah, that's exactly what I said. That's what the boys want, so we'll see. All right, cutter here. Good location. So he has a very easy first inning. Very easy first inning. Really good location on that cutter. Second inning. This is where it started. Here's a walk. This pitch has -7 vert, so this has got to be some sort of kick change. But, dude, that metric is not normal at all. Look at this. Look at this right here. -6.9, vertical break, 12.7. These are, look at the ball drop. These are pitches that didn't exist not that long ago unless you were screwballing it. I don't think he is. So even though this is ball 4, we got ourselves a serious changeup metric on J.R. Richie. All right, ball, good at bat by Barger. Here's Varsho. That's probably a changeup as well. Misread as a sinker. Ends up only getting 1 out. Could have been a double play. Ends up getting 1 out. Even that one, I mean, 0.2 vert and 17 break. That's tremendous. Changeup here for the strikeout of Schneider, right on right. So I like that. Willing to throw his pitches to both sides, regardless of handedness, using it all. Here's a walk, though, on a sweeper to Lucas. They throw a guy out here to end the inning. Kind of a weird play. All right, next inning. He's going to hit a guy with a 2-2 curveball. Just loses it right there a little bit. So the big issue in this game was just command. I mean, clearly this guy's got good stuff. Both sides of the plate batted under 200 versus him last year in the minors. Man, that changeup is dirty. What was the metric on this one? Another one, -6.7. This is gross, guys. Dude, that's a hell of a pitch. Some of these modern-day pitches are approaching Looney Tunes territory. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. That's so nasty. All right, first pitch out here on a 4-seam to Springer. Got him out with a sinker the first time. And this time gets above the barrel. So he's got an ability to get above the barrel, below the barrel, get you out front with the changeup. The Braves definitely have something to work with here. All right, 1-1 pitch, another changeup here to Sanchez. And another perfect one, gets the reach and rollover. So changeup looks like that's his plus pitch, to me at least. Here's another walk. This is the third walk. This is a cutter. So he just struggled with getting ahead in the count a little bit here. Like any other pitcher, if you get ahead in the count, you can dictate. And when he got into 3-ball counts, he didn't make a lot of pitches on 3 balls. Great at-bat by Barger again. So back-to-back walks there. Now he's going to get an out on this pitch to Varsho. Kind of has to fight it off to left. He's got plenty of velo. He's got plenty of options, and I really like the changeup. I'd like to see more of the breaking balls, but I haven't gotten a good look at that yet. Right on right, sinker to Schneider, mill cut. He's aggressive, gets a hit. Good swing by Schneider here. He doesn't get a lot of at-bats versus righties. But a good swing right there. The one time he does actually pour it in there and, throw a first pitch strike, gives up a hit. So that's baseball for you. All right, cutter here. Don't love the metric on his cutter. I understand why he has it, but I don't love it. This is going to be a sac fly from Lucas. And then here's a sweeper. Finally, we get to see it. Very hoppy, and that's why he gets the pop-up. I mean, you're talking 8.4 inches of vert on the sweeper. I mean, that's essentially completely flat across the zone. So the righty batter just droops under it, and that's what you see here, a little droopage. A little droopage from Kasevich. So not a bad thing, not a bad thing. If you're going to have a weird slider metric, you'd rather have it like that with way more vert. So his changeup is dirty, stuff plus around 110 on that. Do we have a TJ Stats game breakdown from yesterday? I'm curious to look at that. The daily stuff. MLB. Whatever happened where you could just pick a date, you know? J.R. Richie. All right, this is his summary so far in spring training this year. He's thrown 8 innings. He's walked too many guys, struck out a decent amount of guys. Anyway, here's the stuff plus grades. Yes, that changeup at 111. 111 so far in spring. That's fantastic. Likes the 4-seam as a 101, sinker as a 101, curveball as a 104, which I didn't get a great look at there. Cutter 96. Yeah, I didn't think it was a great metric. And he's got his sweeper as a 107. Overall, a 104 stuff plus by TJ Stats. The changeup is averaging -2 IVB in this spring with 13.2. That's a really good pitch. -7.6 VAA is extremely steep going downhill. So anyway, I mean, the Braves are going to need him, and he's got some good shit to work with. You know, this pitch plot is very diverse. He's got pitches above the line and pitches below the line on both sides. So that's pretty good. Sounds really, really good. All right, let's get on to Dylan Cease. He also pitched in this game. Big prize signing, obviously, of the Jays. Let's see how it broke down and if he threw any sinkers in this game. He threw 8 of them. All right. 21 sliders, 15 four-seamers, 8 curves, 8 sinkers, 2 sweepers out of Dylan Cease yesterday. Velocity was good, averaging almost 98 on his four-seam. Whiff not as high as usual, only 4 whiffs out of 17 swings on sliders. 21% overall in the game. That sinker metric, 13 and 10, as opposed to his fastball, 18 and 4. I think he can use it for freezes. And again, like for a guy who relies so much on chase, I'd love to see him get some more freezes. I think that would up his game to a different level. If he can find a way to get called strikes as opposed to just swinging strikes, That'll really help him. All right, so let's watch this outing. Ooh, he's going to get it out on a sinker right off the rip here. Oh, he's not going to get it out because Barger doesn't make the play, but he does get the chopper in the ground. Good pitch. Here he's going to get it out on the four seam. Ben Gamble, former teammate, good guy, just beats him with the fastball there. Now, Farmer, Buck Farmer? No, not Buck Farmer. Kyle Farmer, right? Yep, Kyle Farmer. That's that slider. That's, you know, the whole thing is just like finding a way to make him throw a little bit less slider, a little bit less fastball, so that they pop a little bit better when he does throw them. You just can't overexpose those two pitches because they're so good. That's why. That's what this whole diversity thing is about with him, is just finding a way for him to not overexpose those two pitches too much. Which is, I think, where he's gotten in trouble a little bit in the past with his contact. Just being a bit too predictable. When you're 90% one pitch or the other, guys can really hunt things. All right, so good, clean first inning there. Got a couple outs on sliders. Here's a four-seamer, which was a swinging strike that we don't see. Now he's going to get a punchy on a slider in the dirt. Nobody can hold up on that. Great tunnel. It's such a good tunnel pitch, especially with his high release. That ball heading a little bit down. Really, really good. I thought this ball, I was actually watching this game yesterday in my hotel room. I thought that ball was punished, but he only hit it 89.3 for a fly out. Sandy Leon still rocking. See, it's like, even this swing right here. The fastball's good. He throws hard. But if he's so reliant on only the one shape, guys will find it. Guys will find a way to line it. Like, that's a pretty good swing there by Cal Conley. Right, he's going to give him a hit here on a fastball. Yeah, middle down, it just doesn't play. Base hit. Next batter. Strikeout. Slider. No surprise there. Dirty. His slider's so dirty. Nice pitch. Another hit here on a fastball. Ben Gamble. Just kind of rolls it through. That was actually bad contact. That was a good job. But rolls it through. Base hit. Back to the slider when he needs an out. Kyle Farmer. Good pitch. Down and away. Runs out of bat. Rolls it over to short. And that's it for Cease. We didn't get to see a ton of the other pitches. I know he mixed them in. But you can see, like, he just has to be a little bit smarter about his mix, righties and lefties, and just try to be a little more diverse. I really think that will help him. I mean, I understand he's already pretty good, but, you know, you got to worry at some point if he can't add to this arsenal with anything actually valuable. So this was his usage last year. Versus lefties, he was 45% fastball, 37% slider, and 13% curveball. Versus righties, he's 42% fastball and 41% slider, and 3%, you know, curveball, 6% sinker or whatever. You know, it's just such a big allocation. I think versus righties, you'll see more sinkers this year. I think versus lefties, you know, I mean, I guess you can throw some freeze sinkers, but it's just like, how do we get out of a scenario where guys can hunt one pitch or the other? You see that as good as this fastball is, people can hit it. People can hit it. You're not going to get 3 whiffs on it too often. But anyway, he did a good job. No runs. He continues to build up. The big thing with him is just the durability. You know, look at the consistency here. You know, buck 68 plus innings each of the last 3 years, 200 punches each of the last 3 years. We've been overseas a lot. Obviously, he's really good. But I'm just waiting for him to take the next step, you know. He's trying. He's trying. I do think the sinker's a good idea. I like the curveball. You know, I like the curveball. Look how vertical that curveball is. It's way more north-south than most guys. And I'd be curious if Pete Walker doesn't want to lean into that a little bit more as well. But we're starting to run out of time here. He's only going to get a few more starts. They're going to try to get him dialed for opening day. And we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, he's a stuff plus darling. He's a durability darling. There's a lot of things he does well. I'm just curious to see how he evolves because he's there for a long time. He's had some inconsistencies in terms of actual production. And so I'm curious to see how that all plays out. All right. What else do we have from yesterday? Let me get Let me get in here in the chat. Can he get more freeze by pitching backwards? Yeah, typically yes. The sinker is going to help him a lot because his fastball has a little bit of perceived cut to it. So let's say he's throwing a glove side fastball to a righty, and that ball just looks like it's boring and doesn't really have any run back to it. And say he pulls that ball a little bit off the corner and the guy's able to take that. Well, then when he starts his sinker in that same lane, or actually in that lane a little bit off the plate, it's going to be a shutdown from the batter. He's going to be assuming it's still that cutter, that four seam with the little cut to it, and it's going to just continue off the corner. But if he can just run that back to the corner and get freezes, that's how he's going to get freezes. He's also going to get four seam freezes at the bottom of the zone. And I'm sure Gosman and Savage and Pete Walker and all those people will be talking to him about it. But yeah, like once you can get freeze strikeouts and chase strikeouts, your K rate just goes through the roof. Now you have an answer for every batter. And, also the sinker, I think, will help him with righties with his contact issues. Sometimes when you have such good whiff and you're so good with your four seam, guys don't have a hard time measuring you with the barrel. They're just under it or they're over it. But they don't have a hard time like getting you right on the sweet spot where they want to. So when he does make a mistake, he gives up a lot of damage. With the sinker, he's going to get in on the hands a little bit more. He's going to get off the end a little bit more. He's going to get weaker contact, and that could help him be a little bit more pitch efficient as well. He's always been a two-pitch guy. He has. I'm just looking for a little bit more. I'm asking for a little bit more. He's good as he is. I'm asking for him a little bit more. He says he wants to tried to do what King does to freeze lefties. Now I don't know how likely that is to happen. He threw one really good one to Schwarber in his previous start against the Phillies that we watched in spring, but I don't think that he's probably that comfortable with it yet. It takes reps. You have to really commit to that approach. He had 100% whiff percent on the knuckle curve. He didn't throw a lot of them, though. Is it good for pitchers to switch leagues for NL West to AL East? So I did that. I went from NL West to AL East. I just feel like if those guys haven't seen you, it doesn't matter how good they are, you'll have a little bit of an advantage off the rip. So that's a good thing. But you are facing a higher level of competition throughout the league a little bit more often. Your minimum, you're going to get 3 starts versus the Yankees, 3 versus the Orioles, 3 versus the Red Sox. It's challenging. Is Weissert available tonight? I'm pretty sure that Cervelli's going to take the bullet for whatever happens. Like, we're going to try to win. I think all the guys who pitched yesterday will be up again today. I don't think we're playing it the same way as USA. I think we're balls to the wall, and we don't ask permission. We ask for forgiveness. You know what I'm saying? A kick change or something arm side for lefties would help. Agreed. A changeup, a usable changeup for Cease would be money, money, money. Here's an interesting comment from Wilhelm. I don't understand how every pitcher doesn't have a cutter after Mariano Rivera happened. The reason for this is that they don't have the same cutter as Mariano. There's only a couple of GOAT cutters out there, unicorn cutters. 3 guys that immediately come to mind: Kenley Jansen, Mariano Rivera, David Robertson. Those balls stay up and cut. The majority of us who try to throw a cutter, it's like kind of a medium level of lift, so it's very bland and it has a little bit of cut to it. So now you have to really locate it, or it gets absolutely hammered into a scoopy bat path. But if you have that ride cut like Kenley, D-Rob, and Mariano, though, that's a game changer. So if you have that pitch, people will lean into it. And believe me, teams are always looking for that type of profile. It's just pretty rare. You have to have a very unique way of coming through the ball, and not everybody does that. It seems the philosophy has changed from low four seams to high fastball. As a pitcher, wouldn't you think he see low and hard? He's thinking slider when it'd be heat. Sometimes guys get tunnel vision. I think the idea of spamming balls at the top of the zone is just idiotic and has always been idiotic. Like, yes, that's where you're going to get your swing and miss. That's where your pitch is more effective, but that pitch starts to decay if all you do is throw at the top of the zone. They start to have better judgment up there. They start to make different bat path decisions. Guys get flatter. Guys figure out how to stay on top of those pitches. When you pitch down, then you go up. That up looks overwhelming. Also, by principles of effective velocity, any pitch down in the zone, the hitter will have more time to get to than a pitch up in the zone. It's just physics. It's just how your hands. You got a lot more room to drop the bat down. If it's up here, you have to turn your body. If you try to use your hands too much, you're going to get under it, and you're not going to have as much time. So at the end of the day, I've always preached to four-seam guys and we saw this as a big adjustment with Schlittler last year. Start down. in a lot of at-bats and then go up late for the finish. Or if you're working up and then you go down and they take an easy take because their eyes are up, well, then now you know you have low freeze. So you have to use all quadrants of the zone. The days of just spamming pitches at the top of the zone and being dominant, like Chad Green 2017 or Josh Hader for much of his career, Jake McGee, I mean, those days are just kind of over unless you have ridiculous velocity or ridiculous metric. The hitters have just gotten better. I know it's hard to tell as a fan, but I'm telling you, they've closed that gap quite a bit. For a cutter to be that effective, it has to be inconsistent, though that might sound paradoxical. Trevor May showed it when he explained how to pitch to Ohtani. Fastball up would be best, but if he is ahead in the count and expects it, he crushes it like Dylan Cease. 100%. The hitter expectation matters a lot. So Trevor May did a good job explaining that, I guess. It's just important. It's important to stick and move, to not be too predictable, no matter how your stuff is in any location or any speed, or really any of that. Like, the hitters can adjust. That's my point. They can punch back. They can punch back. What kind of cutter did Al Leiter have? Now, we don't have a metric, but Al was really good at ramming that thing up and in on righties. Also, you have to remember, in that time frame, not a lot of people threw cutters. So it was sort of like me when I threw my sweeper when not a lot of people threw sweepers. There was a certain effect to it. I also think a righty bat path, typical righty bat path, is a little more choppy. And so if you make a mistake like down and in with a lefty cutter, they're a little less likely to scoop you. Now, that's changed over the years with the pull side fly ball tactic. But in the era that Al played, where everybody's trying to stay on top of the ball, stay in the middle of the field, cutter's going to chew people up all day. Plus, he had really good location. Andy Pettit's another great example of that. Cutter up and in on righties. Kershaw's fastball has natural cut to righties. So you can do it, and lefties have a little bit more leeway, like everything else in life. They throw with the goofy hand. They get perks. But if you're a righty, if you don't have a great metric, you better locate that cutter, or you better play it off of something inside already so you know you can get chase. Here it is. Tunneling a four seam and a cutter seems like bread and butter if you're a righty for a lefty. So that's the thing. You throw a four seam in. Let me see if I can demonstrate this on video. Let me just pull up any random lefty. Let me just find a game here. I'm just going to click on anything. It doesn't even matter. But we need a righty pitcher and a lefty batter. All right, so Luis Heel. Let's say Marcelo's hitting.
Third spring start for Heel.
All right, just to show the point. So look, this is a good topic here. Thank you for this. All right. So look, this is the inside rail, right? This whole area right here. If you throw your four seam in this area, it's a really good pitch right on left because it speeds them up and it avoids them. Let me change my color here so you can see. It avoids them from diving over into this location down here, right? Because at the end of the day, if you want to get down and away to a lefty and get them to roll over, you can't allow their torso to get over the plate and for them to get scoopy, because then they'll lift you over the infield, or if you drag the ball back to the middle a little bit, they'll hammer that pitch. So there's a very, very, very important factor here in terms of actually pitching lefties in, right? So once you establish that you're pitching lefties in on this rail with a four seam, we'll call these green pitches fastballs in to lefties. If you get swing action here, then you start a cutter in that exact same place, but you run it in off the plate, right? Because now you're getting them to swing at a bad pitch. But if you miss your location with a cutter down here, that's home run territory. I've lived it. I've watched it. I've felt it. And I know it. This is why throwing a right on left cutter when you don't have great command is iffy. Like, these are pretty close pitches. These two different blue areas, right? Like, the difference between this down and in, which is a chase and a swing and miss all day to Marcelo, and this blue over the middle is not that much. It's not that much, you know? So at the end of the day, where I landed was kind of similar to what you're saying here, Ted. If you can get swing action on a four seam, the green line, then you go ahead and throw the cutter off that same line and bring it on the inside and hope for the chase. If you don't get swing action here, then what you do is you run a two seam back this direction and you get the freeze. So, you can play a three-way tunnel with a right-handed pitcher to a left-handed batter on that inside corner. Four seams directly at it. If he gets swing, you run cutter on that line off the plate for chase. And then if you don't get swing, you start the cutter in and run it back to the corner for freeze. So you can play all that game on the inside, and that gets their attention in there. And that eventually will leave them exposed for some backdoor stuff over here. You know, now they can't dive as much. They can't get out there and scoop it and reach it with the bat. It becomes a lot more effective. So that's pitching 101 right there. Pitches are good, but they're not good in every circumstance. And I think that's important, and I think that's something a lot of analysts just don't understand. Like, you might have a good cutter on paper by movement, but it doesn't make a lot of sense if it's in the wrong circumstance, if that makes sense. So I hope that explained a few things. I got to see some bad cutters get launched. I mean, shit, I gave up some serious bad cutter launches throughout my career. No doubt about it. Blake Trinan and his sinker movement was due to the fact that Blake fell on broken glass when he was 2 and almost lost his thumb, so now his thumb sits in a natural angle. It's just weird. What are you going to learn from that, you know? It's like Billy Wagner throwing left-handed after he broke his right arm. Just weird. Does this work in reverse for left-handed pitchers and right-handed batters? Yes, but I think they have even more leeway. The typical right-handed swing is not as down and in prominent. Now, it's gotten more so that way, but you know, for the most part, I just think lefties have more leeway throwing to righties than righties do to lefties. I mean, lefty batters face so many righty pitchers over their career, and you know, righty batters face more righties than lefties over their lifetime too. So even though they see a lot of lefties, it's still a little bit less comfortable than those lefties versus the righties. So I think it's an interesting factor for sure. All right, so now that we've talked about all of that, what else is there to look at from yesterday? Let's see here. Looks like Sonny Gray was on the mound. Peterson got in there. Glasnow. DeGrom. This was our first time looking at Jake. What was Jake's line on the day? Looks like it was pretty scoreless. 3 innings, 2 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. There's also a Seager home run in here, so maybe we'll watch DeGoat. Hopefully this game's televised. So first I'll pull up the data on him just to make sure everything's copacetic, everything's good. This is not the right day. This is not the right day. There we go. Texas Cubs. All right, here he is, Jake. Velo looking fine. He averaged 92.5 on his slider yesterday. Also mixed in a couple sinkers. He threw 2 sinkers yesterday and a curveball. That's very odd for him. Ooh, Christian Scott was televised. We'll watch that next. Remind me. Anyway, Jake, what's the sinker metric? 10 and 16? So even Jake's embracing a sinker here a little bit. 16 and 8 on the 4-seam. That's about normal for him. But 10 and 16 on the sinker. Interesting. Mixed in a couple curves. Slider's always going to be gross. He's always going to be really good. So let's go ahead and watch our guy. Hopefully this game is televised. Cubs and Rangers. Now, people were saying that there wasn't going to be hardly any games televised yesterday, so maybe this won't be. That would be a shame. Because, you know, we love to watch Jake, you know, Jake the Snake. Not televised. All right, so we got to skip over that. We're going to go to Christian Scott then. Ay. Sorry, fellas. Sorry, everybody. All right. First, let's look at his data, because we haven't seen this guy pitch since Tommy John, really. I know this was his second outing. But I'm curious to watch C. Scott and look what it looked like. Here he is. He came in relief. All right, so fastball velocity, 95.3. That's tremendous. Slider, 88.9. Those are his 2 best pitches, plus the sweeper. So he's got that short slider and the sweeper. Sweeper's a little down in velo from where he was before, but I don't have a problem with that. 81's fine. It almost gives more contrast. And he mixed in a couple splitters. Yesterday, the splitter averaged -5, so that's something different than before. Maybe that's just a healthy elbow. I don't know. Sweeper, huge vert on his sweeper, 8 and 15. That's a weird shape, but he's always been very verty, which I mentioned can be a good thing. Sliders a gyro, fastball 15 and 10, so nothing special there, but he does have a little bit of a low release, and he throws hard, and he's a bulldog. 77% first pitch strike. So let's go ahead and watch Mr. Christian Scott. St. Louis Cardinals, New York Metropolitanos. Somebody said this game was televised, so let's hope for the best. And I really like this guy. He's a dog. He's a freaking dog. All right, he's going to get greeted with a double right off the rip on that gyros, on that slider. 10 and 4. What a weird metric there. It's kind of a cutter. Victor Scott takes him in the corner for a double. Yeah, very lifty sweeper. All right. Fastball here for an out. Gets the pop-up. Oh, he's blinded by the sun. He can't see shit. Third baseman can, though. Nice job. All right, next batter. He's going to get a walk here. Now he's at 95. All right, so a little bit of a rocky start, but he's going to punch his way out of it, I think. Fastball here. Doors. Man, that ball exploded up top, huh? This is a secret weapon for the Mets. They have much more pitching depth than people realize. I mean, Tong just got optioned. But C. Scott's in the mix now, too, so I'm very excited for them on the starting standpoint. Here is a sweeper for an out. This is a very interesting pitch. I mentioned the liftiness of it. I love it for right on right, even for left on left contact. It's just unique, you know. Look at the VB 7.3. So that's very lifty. We talked about that before. 7.3 negative 16. Very, very good. Very, very interesting pitch. Good extension. 6.7. 81.2 mile-an-hour sweeper. Gets him off the end of the bat. Gets out of the inning scoreless. On to the next inning. He's going to get a called strikeout here. Probably fastball down. Yep. Batter doesn't like it, but that was all up in there. Nice freeze right there. Now he's going to get another strikeout on a four-seam, probably up. Yep, doors. So fastball plays at both parts of the zone, top of the zone and bottom of the zone. Yeah, I did say 6-7, sorry. All right. And then he almost had to punch the side, but he's going to walk him here. So a little bit of iffy command, but the stuff looks good. 95 here. Kind of jams the crap out of this batter, Mr. Madris. 67.8 off the bat, and we're on to the third, his third inning. Starts off with a leadoff walk. So, yeah, struggled with command a bit. This is another walk here. So, walk. Typically, you'd get taken out here, but he needs to get his pitches in. And then he comes back and does a nice job. First pitch out on a slider, which is really a cutter. That's that location I don't like. It's going to work out because they get the double play. Great job by C. Scott to cover. But, like, look at the location. This doesn't get off the plate away. This is that down and in scoop. And typically I don't like this pitch, but he does get 2 outs on it. This is the pitch I told you I'm worried about. That down and in spot to the lefty. Luckily, he got him on the ground here. All right, so nice double play. Great coverage. Great job to get over really fast. And then he's going to finish his outing with a 3-pitch punch. So let's watch the whole thing. First pitch, slider. Swing and miss. Second pitch, splitter. There we go. This is with the negative vert. Nice pitch. If he can be consistently negative vertical break on his split, then he's going to have another really nice weapon to go to. Nice pitch. And then he's going to finish him with 96.3 up top. So the velo is really there. He pitches with an edge. I've always liked Christian a lot. When you come back off Tommy John, you're always very motivated to come back like gangbusters and kind of reclaim your spot. But this is good. This is very encouraging. I mean, spring training is 95, 96. Sweeper looks good. Splitter looks good. He's going to be depth for the Mets, but that's an exciting piece of depth for the Mets, no doubt about it. So kudos to them. Who else pitched in this game? Raley did his usual 3 up, 3 down. Peterson. Looks like he pitched 4 innings. Let's watch a couple of the strikeouts. Not a big strikeout guy, obviously, but Curious to watch Petey for a second. Sliders his big swing and miss pitch. 30. And then Bly Madris. Going to get him on the slider. So usually with Petey, when he's punching tickets, it's sliders. Or if he slowed you down enough, he'll beat you with the heater. But, I feel like he's a little bit of the forgotten man. He kind of held this rotation together while they were struggling down the stretch last year. He's the one guy who can really go deep in the game. I know it wore down on him, but he had a stretch there where he was really the only effective starter for the Mets for a while. Dirty pitch. Really good sliders right there. So all 3 strikeouts on sliders yesterday. No surprise there. On the offensive side, Alvy hit the absolute dog shit out of this home run. Let's watch all of Alvy's at-bats. Full pitches and everything. Because I think Alvy's primed for a huge year. Taking a changeup here. Jared Schuster, former Brave, I believe. So drops behind 0-2 in this first at-bat. Even though he's going to get out here, the fact that he drags this out to 9 pitches, very encouraging. Spoils the fastball up. Here comes the slider. Yes, 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 no. Good take. Changeup. Oof. You know what I like that he did here? He really got down with his legs. This is something that Soto's so good at. It's kind of a lost art. A lot of people just fish with their hands. Check out Alvy give with the knee here to get low and get a piece of that. So stays alive there. Spoils a really good pitch by Schuster. Here's another fastball. Late, but spoils. Ball in dirt, so this is going to be a take. And then he finally does, actually gets a hit. So he grinded this at-bat from 0-2. Great at-bat. What a grindy at-bat. 106.7 to center. All those little nicks that he did, spoiling the pitcher's pitches, ended up getting a pitch to whack, and then he whacked it. Great job by Alvy. I'm telling you, this kid's poised. At some point, he's going to have a major breakout. All right, next at bat. This is a first pitch home run. Bam! No doubter to center. Not a lot of guys doing that. Over the batter's eye, boys. 111.5 at 24. That's why he's the best. That's why he's the best. Not a lot of guys can do that. He's got special talent, special ability. I freaking love this guy. I love it. And I love when he stays to the big part of the park because he's got thump to do this. Not a lot of guys are going over the batter's eye. 6 swing from Alvy here. So 2 hits in his first 2 at-bats. I know he gets out this time. I'm curious, though. Edwin Nunez, first pitch changeup taken all the way. Second pitch sinker taking. So he gets himself into an 0-2 hole here. Fights off the slider, and then he's going to get out with the changeup. Pretty good swing, though, still. Stays through it nicely. Not a pitch he could really drive because he got it away from him just enough. But hit the ball hard all 3 times up, including an absolute mammoth nuke, which we have to watch again because this ball's crushed. Bam. 6 swing. That was amazing. El Troll. That was an absolute bomb. It was. It was. It was. All right, let's get in here. See some stuff in here, but I don't know the context. I feel like that it's normal with TJ to not have your command of the zone. Yuri and Sandy can be an example of walking a bunch of guys or even just getting deep in the counts. Of course, I mean, you haven't gotten reps. Haven't gotten reps in a while. Could be your stuff, could be your command, could be a lot of things, you know. Anytime you're out of competition for a long time, there's new lessons to learn or relearn, if you will. So that's part of it. But I thought C. Scott looked great there. That was really fun. Jonah Tong is off to Syracuse. That was obviously pretty predictable. He's got a lot of stuff to work on, but he's a very dangerous guy. And I think in the future, you know, there's a huge ceiling with Tong. We just have to see how it kind of develops and what he looks like when he does get his next opportunity, which I'm sure he'll get pretty quickly. I'm sure he'll get pretty quickly for sure. Over the batter's eye is crazy. That ball was absolutely nuked. Yeah, we should touch on this as well. Nationals sign Littell. They got him for a really good price. Really good price. So I think he's the best starter left. I mean, I know Giolito's still out there, which is crazy. I mean, he should be holding out for a big league deal or whatever. But Littell to the Nats, it's an opportunity for him. I just personally thought he would have done better than this, and I don't think he's the 5 starter on this team either. I'd put him as the 2 starter, to be honest with you, maybe even more. But Littell to the Nats, and yeah, he'll try to have a great year for them, and then go back out on the market. I think for the price and for the term, this was a great deal for the Nationals. Bet the Reds wish they re-signed him with Green out now. Yeah, probably. Hunter Green out's a big problem for them. I told you he's on the short list of who can contend with Skeens for the Cy, but bone chips is a little ominous. Anytime you have your bones having crazy reactions to how much stress you're putting on an area of your body, you got to worry a little bit. A lot of times people get loose bodies cleaned out, and that actually kind of destabilizes the area. Sometimes it's fine. Sometimes like they just feel way better and they come back like gangbusters. But obviously we've seen some situations where it went the wrong way, so it makes me nervous. Makes me nervous for sure. Did you ever talk about Luzardo? No, I didn't talk about him. I saw he got extended the other day. I mean, look, he's basically an ace at this point. He got blown up a couple games with some tipping, but other than that, he was lights out. He's got great shit, great competitor. Only 28 years old. Phillies don't mess around when they want to keep a guy; they keep him. That two-headed monster at the top of the lefties, Sanchez and Luzardo, is really, really nasty. Obviously, we'll see what Wheeler looks like when he comes back. How Nola bounces back. We'll get a good glimpse at him tonight in the Mexico game. Painter's got upside, so Phillies are the Phillies. The Phillies are a really, really good team, and it's encouraging. They just they get it. I feel like they get it a lot. Like, don't overthink it. Luzardo would have been one of the top free agents on the market. Sign him now. Give him fair dollars. Sign him now. See what you can do. Don't let him get too close to that free agency because he might go off this year. Luzardo's a beast. It's crazy that he's been on 3 teams, but you got to give up stuff to get stuff. But I mean, dude, look at him. He's so good. So good. The sweeper became a thing last year. I think he's poised to go even higher. I could see a low 3 ERA this year, even under 3 if everything clicked right. But you don't see a lot of savant pages out of starters that are this much red. So that's really, really good. How long is Green out? It's anybody's guess. You clear that stuff out, you wait for the wound to heal, then you start working on range of motion and then strength, and then there's a whole progression there. I mean, you don't have to it's not like you have a brand new ligament that has to, brand new tendon has to become a ligament or whatever. That's why Tommy John takes so long. But, you're looking at a few months at least. I mean, maybe he's back in July, August. I don't know. But this sucks for the Reds. They have every plan on being competitive. And now, they do have starting pitcher depth, but I mean, he's the undisputed ace of this team. And now that mantle has to get passed on to Abbott or Lodolo, probably. I mean, they still got 5 competent guys here, but Lauder and Burns are pretty much unproven, especially in the rotation. Lodolo's been hurt a lot. Singer's been mid a lot. Abbott's good, but he's not dominant. So they needed Hunter Green, and they'll get him back, but you got to hope it's sooner rather than later and that there's no complications. I don't want to hear any setbacks in his situation. I'll definitely start to get a little worried. If you face Jarren Duran, don't show him anything but spin. Don't worry, I'm not facing him. But he also did smash a left-on-left slider the other night. I mean, I guess he probably knew it was coming after he hit a fastball before, but we'll see. All right, where are we at? Hour and 50 in. It's been a fun stream. We've had a lot of people on, even with the technical difficulties early. Any free agents left or all good players signed? There's a few. Not many. Not many, guys. I mean, it's gotten pretty dicey, but you go on the list here. Patrick Corbin, he can eat innings for somebody. I don't know when that dam's going to break. Lucas Giolito's the big one. Somebody's got to sign him soon. He's a quality pitcher. Justin Wilson, I heard that he might be retiring, so I don't see much of that happening. Coulomb, it's weird that he hasn't signed either. I find that odd. You look a little further down. Max Kranick, who's probably going to sign a minor league deal with somebody and be a factor at midseason. Jorge Lopez, I'm not sure what the consensus is on him right now. Tommy Pham, probably could help somebody. Certainly seems like he's trying, but hasn't found a taker yet. Tim Anderson, same boat. Tyler Anderson's another one. This is a good pitchability guy. What type of year did TA have last year? I mean, he's not going to look good probably on. He's probably not going to look too good on the metrics, but he keeps you off balance. He gets a lot of fly balls. He could definitely help in the back end of a rotation. 26 starts, year before 31 starts. So he covers innings, hit a 3.81. That's probably best case scenario. 4.56 is a little more middle of the road, but he will cover innings for you. He is a tough matchup, at times because he has such a slow changeup, 78.7 on the changeup. But again, when you're averaging now below 90, the models aren't going to like you, and that's probably why he has not been signed. But I would count him as somebody who could probably still get a job, or could help a team for sure. I know you can filter. It's my bad. It's my bad. So here's the list of the unsigned, just so you guys can get a look at that one more time. Favorite stat to determine a pitcher's ability to break out? I don't think there's one stat or another. I mean, obviously, if a guy's been dealing with poor luck a little bit, batted ball luck, then yeah, you look for that to regress back to the mean in some way. But at the same time, I mean, I look at things like new pitch. Is the command getting better? I don't know. I look at the components a little bit more. So here's the full list of players that are unsigned. Some other names that just pop up in my head. Michael Kopech is one. Interesting. No Rowdy Tellez, no Jesse Winker, Spencer Turnbull. Solano's been around forever, but he's 38, so his time might be coming. I mean, oh my God, Jose Iglesias, Wilmer Flores. Jose Leclerc is a guy who got $10 million last year. I know he's been hurt. Canely is going to help somebody for sure. I don't know what's going to happen with Justin Turner. I know John Birdie's on the fence about still playing. He wants a big league offer. We'll see. Jason Hayward's still working out. We'll see. I don't know what's up with Chad Green. He got kind of released. I've never heard anything about that since. Nestor's still out there. So there's some names, but I think it's going to be it's pretty grim for a lot of these guys. All right, what else we got here? Missed the beginning. Did y'all cover DeRosa's comments? Yeah. I mean, it's just like so one thing I wanted to point out was obviously D-Rose taking a lot of the heat here, and he should be his manager, but at the same time, there's a lot of people involved with this federation to get these rules understood. Michael Hill running the team, all the other coaches, the players. Take a critical look at it and decide how important this game is or isn't. And it looks like he really kind of, made the players think that they were already through and they could go ahead and relax. So crazy scenario. Now their fate's not in their hands. And we'll just see how it plays out. You never like to see a situation like this, but man, it's certainly crazy. It's certainly controversial. And it's been very interesting to watch different people cover it and how they feel about it. I mean, for me, I'm just kind of like, it just felt like he didn't know the rules. I don't know for sure, but that's what it felt like for a little while in that game. Jarren Duran and Masataka Yoshida, both Red Sox, both possible Boston DHs, both possible World Baseball Classic MVPs. All the Red Sox are mashing in this tournament or pitching well. I mean, look at how good Weissert looked last night, Whitlock the night before. On the offensive side, Masataka, Abreu, Duran, Roman. I mean, they've really put their best foot forward in the WBC so far as a group, so it's pretty cool. How smooth is Antonacci? Great, love him. I'm very high on him. We've already checked him out a little bit. This was the big thing. Was the mad dash to home? I thought that was very impressive. The anticipation, the reckless abandon, the aggression, the piss and vinegar in this kid. Big time shit. Oh yeah, Nate Eaton was the entire Great Britain offense as well. Don't want to leave him out. He's been a factor. So Red Sox have been all over this tournament. Very cool, and I bet that does feel good as a Red Sox fans. Kendrick Perkins. So this is the scenario we were talking about last night. I was talking about, at least. I know we're not going to do that. You have to have integrity or whatever. But could you imagine you just bunt the ball back to each other the whole game? You let Mexico win 1-0, and then USA has to go home. You get the cartel and the mafia working together. Anything's possible. But I think we're going to play it straight up because it's baseball, and you have to have some competitive integrity, right? They need to simplify the tie-break scenarios. It's too confusing. I have a PhD to understand the tie-breaking rules. So I think it should be runs scored, because then that's an incentive to do more, right? Then it's not like this like do less thing, it's do more thing. So like in this situation, a team would have to keep scoring, right? As opposed to like keeping it small. So I think they should just flip that tiebreaker more into run scored, total run scored, or something like that. Something that can't be manipulated so easily. Because like right now, like for real though, we could manipulate the crap out of this game and send US packing. There's no doubt about it. If Mexico and Italy agreed to do it, I mean, it would look bad, but it would work, and there's nothing they could do within the rules. So I just think you don't want to leave the door open for too many shenanigans like that. So to me, that's kind of crazy. Next show will be tomorrow. Not sure if they're going to do morning or night yet. I guess it kind of depends on how this game goes. I'll definitely post some information about that later, but I don't really have anything tomorrow regardless, right? Because if we are advancing, then we're staying here for another game, and I bet we have one day off. And if not, we're going to fly to Miami tomorrow. So in that case, I'll probably, well, not Miami. If not, I'll be flying home tomorrow. So then in that case, I would probably do the stream from home tomorrow night or something like that. But I guess we'll check the schedule and we'll see. No running out the clock in baseball. In my opinion, runs 4 gets a bit weird because it incentivizes kicking the crap outside of the bottom feeders. Yeah, but I mean, even in this situation, it's kind of weird. Like they don't take any of the run scoring into account versus Brazil or Great Britain. I just feel like everything should be taken into account. I don't know, man. I don't know. There's way too much potential shenanigans. The next show depends on how hammered AO is. I mean, I don't really drink like that, so it's probably not going to happen. But do we get a little handshake between the Mexicans and the Italians? Probably not. It should be run differential. I don't think a team should be penalized for being an offense first team, in my opinion. All I'm saying is whatever it is, don't leave it open for too much potential shenanigans and whatever it is. Right, whatever it is right now, it's just not working. It's just not working. Nobody likes it, I don't think. And I guess run scored is hard because of the mercy rule. That's true. That's true as well. I guess you could give them more credit because like the other team got less outs. So you could, you could have changed the denominator, do some math that way. Those are all options. All right. Is there anything else? Let's just go over the probables. We'll go over probables again. We'll preview real quick these 3 games. These are the probables from spring today. And then we'll say goodbye today. I have a 2:00 bus. So we have a 6:00 game. I think I might even have an earlier bus. Let me check my schedule before we do this. God forbid somebody's like, get in the bus, and I'm not even like ready at all. We need WhatsApp. This is what happens when I don't know the schedule. 2 p.m. player bus. All right, we're good. All right, here's the matchups from today. Pirates at Orioles, Noah Davis, Kyle Bradish. Cardinals at Nats, Dustin May, Cade Cavalli. Tigers at Twins, Tanner Rainey and Taj Bradley. So Taj Bradley could have played for Team Mexico. They could have probably used him. Rays, Braves, Martinez and Strider. So maybe we'll get another look at Strider. Very much continue to be interested in how his stuff looks. He's been such a stuff guy when he's had success. So, you got to get some level of that back, or you have to evolve. So it's very curious to see for a guy at one point was like the number 1, fantasy starting pitcher. Astros, Marlins, Imai and Meyer. Please be on TV so we can watch Imai. Probably won't be, though. Royals, Cubs, Mitch Spence, Colin Ray. Giants, Royals, Molly and Bailey Falter. Angels, White Sox, Alec Manoah. Curious to see how that looks. And Anthony Kay. Brewers, Reds, Robert Gasser, Andrew Abbott. The new ace, Andrew Abbott. A's, Diamondbacks, Luis Morales, Ryan Nelson. Rockies, Mariners, Chase Dolander, and Luis Castillo. So we get another look at Dolander. I've mentioned I've really liked his sinker. Continue to be fascinated by his development. Blue Jays, Yankees, Lauer and Schlittler. So this is, I think, Schlittler's second game. I didn't really break down that first one. I think he looked pretty good in the first one, but not really sure. All right, so those are all the spring games. And then as for the WBC games, everybody already kind of knows what it is. But we have 3 games today. First one coming up at 2 Central, Canada and Cuba. Qualtrill versus Moniello. Moniello is a very good pitcher in NPB. Let me see if I can find him real quick. Yeah, Q Cosmopolitan. Do we have his actual website? Yeah, Levon Moniello literally rated #1 here. Let's see if I can click on his player page real quick, because this is an interesting one. He's starting versus Canada today in a must-win game. Cuba versus Canada. A lot of people don't know about this guy. Lefty pitcher. He's been absolutely filthy for the SoftBank Hawks over the past several years. I mean, look at the ERAs going back to 2019. 1.52, look at this. Sorry, 152, 169, 115, 103, 0.98, 188, 146 for a career 180 in 630 innings in NPB. That is ridiculous. Now, I know he was a reliever up until 2 years ago, but it has not changed his effectiveness. His 2 years in the rotation, 1.88, 1.46. It's ridiculous. He's very, very good. So, that's who they're up against. They are up against Levon Moniello, and it's Cal Quantrill for Canada, who's obviously a major league pitcher. So these two dudes are going to be interesting. What does he throw? Now, do I have ability to look at the metrics? I thought there was metrics on here somewhere. Dashboard. Pitcher percentiles. Well, we're not going to get the exact maybe mix, but I think it's like kind of like a typical like fastball split type of situation. All right. Anyway, here is Levon Moniello. Doesn't get ground balls, so pitches up, probably a good 4-seam. Everything else is great. He doesn't throw very hard, but it doesn't matter. He dominates. Lots of chase, lots of swinging strikes. Doesn't give up a lot of homers. I mean, mediocre amount. I don't have his metrics on here, but either way, it's a good matchup. Moniello versus Cal Quantrill in that game, and literally the winner moves on. The winner comes to Houston. So that's that first game. And our game, Italy, Mexico. It's going to be Javier Assad for Mexico. I already know, versus Aaron Nola. So 2 major league pitchers going at it. You know, Mexico's got a good lineup. Nacho, Aranda, Randy, Duran, Kirk, Meneses, Ornelas. Like, they have some real hitters. Tellez, Thomas. I'm sure we'll see a lot of their best relievers, the guys who have a little bit of velo. Oh, yeah, Moniello pitched in the first game already, so we can actually maybe backtrack into the data and watch that. So what was the first day of the WBC? It was like the on this side was like maybe like the 5th. Cuba, Panama. He went 3 2/3, 2 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. So I can look at his metrics now. So what's this? Is March 6th? March 6th. Okay. Good shout out on that. All right, here he is. So, yeah, 42% 4-seam, 22% changeup. I mentioned it was probably a 4-seam and changeup or splitter approach. 19% curveball. and 17% slider. All right, on the velocity spectrum, he pitches on all three levels. 91, 92-ish on the four seam, 82 on the changeup, and then way down to 75 on the curveball. Slider sits a bit harder, so it tunnels probably pretty well with the fastball at only a 5-mile-an-hour differential. And that plays up here with the whiff percentage. He got 4 whiffs on 6 swings on sliders in that game. He also got pretty good whiff on changeup for an overall 32% whiff percentage. Impeccable control. That's why he doesn't beat himself. 73% first pitch strikes. Also, average exit velocity in this game, 77.8, which is dismal. So you're dealing with a guy who controls contact, throws strikes, has good contrast between his pitches, and has great pitchability. So that's what we're looking at with Moniello versus Cal Quantrill in that game. All right, enough of that game. Back to what I was just talking about. Where is that? Not NPB. All right, second game I mentioned, Italy, Mexico. We all know the circumstances there. That will be good. And then we have the Dominican-Venezuelan game. Sandy versus Erod. Both teams will put their A lineup out there, try to win so they can draw Korea in their next game. Otherwise, the loser is going to play Japan. Obviously, these two teams are rivals. This should be an electric game, probably the most noisy game of the first round, and we've already had quite a few. But you get the Dominican fans and the Venezuelan fans together, and it should be amazing. This would be an awesome game to attend. The energy should be second to none. So we have 3 great games to look forward to. Thanks for hanging out with me today. It was fun. We had some technical difficulties, but we had a lot of people in the stream all day, so I really appreciate that. We're going to keep this thing rolling. But hey, anything can happen in baseball, so get ready for tonight. Hold on to your hats if you're a USA fan. If you're an Italy fan, this should be thrilling. If you're a Mexico fan, this should be thrilling. If you're a Dominican or Venezuelan fan, obviously that's thrilling. And obviously Canada and Cuba. So 3 really good games. They're kind of all straightforward. Everybody wants to win. Obviously the Italy-Mexico thing's could get weird late, but we'll see. And overall, just another great day of baseball. So, we'll go ahead and enjoy it. And hopefully at the end of the day, we'll have some wine for Vinny and everybody will be having a good time. And I appreciate you guys so much for hanging with me once again. I'm going to go get something to eat and get ready to go, pretend to pitch tonight, but really watch the game. So love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Thanks so much for all the support. You guys are the best. And I will see you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe and tell your friends. We're having a good time on this stream. There's going to be much more to come. So have a great one, guys. All right. See you later.